Have you ever tried to quit smoking or lose weight and still failed? When you agonize over every second fighting those burning cravings, feeling the intense pull of old habits, and watch the numbers on the scale climb without mercy, you realize that self-control isn't easy. It demands extraordinary mental strength and steely resolve to never succumb to your instincts, to the primal urges that seem to overpower rational thought. The fight feels relentless, a constant battle against an invisible enemy within. The sheer exhaustion of maintaining such vigilance can be overwhelming, leading many to eventually surrender to the temporary comfort of compromise. Today, modern society is waging war against an unhealthy lifestyle pandemic. We are witnessing a global epidemic of habits that silently erode health and well-being. Rampant obesity is a growing crisis. Cigarettes continue gripping our routines with their addictive clutch, and chronic stress is seeping into every moment of our lives, a pervasive anxiety that undermines our peace. Overindulgent eating, various addictions, or simply giving up and abandoning our goals become our default reflexes, automatic responses to the pressures of modern life. Yet, these complacent choices only drag us deeper into a vicious cycle where every effort to break free feels pointless. Every attempt at change seems doomed to failure. The trap is set. We seek comfort in what harms us, and the very act of seeking that comfort perpetuates the problem. Faced with this challenge, this seemingly insurmountable struggle against our own inclinations, Stoicism offers 8 profound methods to help us welcome discomfort as the very first step toward real change. This is a paradoxical approach. Instead of fighting the pain, you embrace it. When we accept the struggle and trust in our own inner power, recognizing that true strength lies not in avoiding discomfort but in confronting it, every craving and every old habit gradually loses its grip. Their tyranny recedes, making room for unbreakable determination and a newfound sense of self-mastery. The chains of impulse begin to loosen, and the path to freedom becomes visible. If you're ready to embark on this journey, ready to take command of your own life and to forge a new identity, leave a comment. I am in control of myself. And join us as we delve into the first principle, the epidemic of unhealthy lifestyles. 1. The epidemic of unhealthy lifestyles across our planet. We are witnessing a silent yet ferocious pandemic, the explosion of unhealthy lifestyles. This is not a virus that sweeps through populations in a sudden blitz. It is a slow-burning crisis, quietly eroding the foundations of individual and collective health. At first, many might casually regard uncontrolled eating habits or smoking as merely personal choices, matters of individual preference. But the figures, alarming and unmistakable, 500 million obese people and 1 billion smokers worldwide, reveal a far more terrifying reality. These are not mere statistics, and they represent a global health catastrophe in the making. More than a social trend or a cultural phenomenon, this is a wake-up call for public health, as millions of lives bear the heavy consequences of seemingly harmless habits that silently ravage the body from within. The cumulative impact is devastating. People often think obesity is merely an aesthetic issue, concerned only with appearance. But in reality, it is the primary cause of cardiovascular disease, the leading killer globally. It is also a significant contributor to the rise of diabetes and a host of malignant cancers. When excess fat accumulates in the body, arteries constrict, impeding blood flow. Blood pressure soars, forcing the heart to overwork in order to pump blood effectively. Simultaneously, the endocrine system, which regulates hormones, becomes gravely disrupted, leading to a cascade of health problems. The statistics do not lie. Healthcare costs for obesity-related conditions have compelled many European nations to spend tens of billions of euros each year just to sustain their health systems, a financial burden that threatens the stability of public health infrastructures. Yet beyond the astronomical budgets and the impersonal figures, every case of heart disease or diabetes is a heartbreaking personal story, a tragedy unfolding as families witness the final fleeting moments of their loved ones. The human toll is immense, marked by suffering and loss. Alongside the obesity epidemic, smoking continues to spread like a relentless nightmare. With 1 billion people smoking around the globe, lung cancer cases have reached unprecedented heights and millions of premature deaths follow each year. The scale of this preventable tragedy is staggering. Treatment costs for tobacco-related illnesses, from cancer and chronic bronchitis to devastating heart attacks, continue to climb, burdening not just individual families with immense financial strain, but imposing colossal financial strain on nations as a whole. Each year, healthcare budgets allocate increasing funds for cessation support programs and for treating the aftermath of tobacco use. Yet clinic attendance remains insufficient to reverse the trend, indicating a deeper root cause beyond mere lack of access to support. It is in this context that the Stoic philosopher Seneca's reminder echoes as a timeless warning: no man is free who is a slave to the flesh. This concise yet profound statement presents a paradox. We relentlessly chase immediate gratification, from the sweetness of fast food to the drag of tobacco, believing these pleasures offer liberation. Yet in doing so, we lose mastery over ourselves in the process, becoming captives to our own cravings. Seneca not only criticizes our dependency on pleasure, but emphasizes that true freedom emerges when we learn to recognize and release our cravings rather than attempting to flee from or repress them. Experience has shown that avoidance or distraction techniques, while offering temporary respite, ultimately yield only temporary relief and often end in failure, with cravings resurfacing with greater intensity. Meanwhile, many European countries have begun investing heavily in educational programs and psychological interventions, encouraging individuals to confront their unhealthy habits instead of denying them. However, even billions of euros will not resolve the root issue unless each person cultivates inner self-control, grounded in the Stoic spirit of acceptance and release. We must acknowledge that alongside societal support, such as community healthcare networks and public awareness campaigns, the decisive factor lies in our willingness to face cravings rather than battle against them with sheer willpower. When we observe a craving as a transient psychological phenomenon, like inhaling and exhaling, a temporary thought or sensation that will pass, we truly grasp the essence of self-regulation. That moment of non-reactive observation becomes the foundation for igniting our capacity to change, abandon harmful habits, and embrace a healthier lifestyle. It is in this conscious choice to witness rather than fight that true transformation begins. In the end, overcoming the pandemic of unhealthy living is not simply a matter of losing weight or quitting smoking through external effort. It is fundamentally an internal struggle to liberate ourselves from the chains of passion, from the tyranny of instinct. As each of us begins to practice self-mastery, from allowing cravings to arise and pass to finding joy in healthy choices, we transform this pandemic into an opportunity for rebirth, for individual and collective renewal. And as Seneca pointed out, only when we are no longer slaves to our passions do we step into true freedom and sovereignty over our own lives. 2. Causes of unhealthy behavior. From childhood, I have witnessed the silent power of one's environment over human behavior. It is a force so pervasive, yet often so unacknowledged, that it shapes our choices in profound ways. I remember every time I accompanied my mother to the market, those huge advertising billboards displaying rich, buttery pastries always caught my eye, their vibrant colors and enticing images seeming to call out to me. I asked my mother, why can't a little kid like me resist a single pastry? Why is the pull so strong? She simply smiled and said that we're born with both genetics and habits nurtured by our surroundings. Indeed, it's not only our genes and neurotransmitters that partly determine our choices, but friends, advertisements, and social media also exert an invisible pressure, quietly shaping our daily behavior. This multifaceted influence creates a complex web around our decisions. Do you recall the first time you saw a fast food ad while scrolling through TikTok? In just a fleeting moment, a craving hit you, even though you had no prior thought of wanting a burger or French fries. The key here is the genetic neurotransmitter environment complex. Genetics gives us a basic map, a predisposition, our sensitivity to sugar, caffeine, or nicotine, for example. Neurotransmitters such as dopamine act as the chemist, producing the pleasure we feel when our cravings are satisfied, reinforcing the behavior. Meanwhile, the environment, from gigantic billboards to your morning circle of friends, serves as the subtle director, staging the scenes in which you perform your daily habits. But as Epictetus reminded us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This perfectly captures the Stoic spirit. We are not determined by our cravings or the signals around us, but by how we choose to respond to them. When fast food ads appear, or friends invite us to engage in unhealthy habits, it is our inner response, our awareness, and the way we face the craving that ultimately decides the outcome. If we force ourselves to battle a craving without truly understanding its nature, two scenarios usually occur. Either we collapse quickly under the sheer force of willpower exhaustion, or we fail and then resort to a negative reward, a treat yourself mentality. Oh, forget it. I'll just treat myself to this. I deserve it. But if you recognize that a craving is merely a signal, nothing more, nothing less, a transient thought or physical sensation, you have shifted from a passive position to an active one, from being a victim to being a master of your response. Consider children raised among fast food ads. Each billboard, each YouTube clip becomes a persistent trigger, training them to crave snacks even when they aren't hungry. In an environment that constantly commands consumption, saying no to a craving becomes nearly impossible unless we pause, observe, identify the craving's nature, and then let go rather than straining to suppress it. Similarly, when your circle of friends gathers each morning for coffee and a cigarette, they unwittingly create a feedback loop. The aroma of coffee sparks nicotine cravings. Here, the social environment functions like a broadcast tower, continuously transmitting the message, "We smoke every morning." To change, you must have the courage to turn off that tower or change how you listen. Acknowledge, I notice the thought that I need a cigarette, and simply watch that thought dissolve. In that quiet moment of observation, you truly seize power over the impulse. Stoic philosophy doesn't demand that you flatly reject emotions or cravings. It asks you to step outside yourself and observe them as a spectator, an impartial witness. When we release the internal struggle, the craving gradually loses its grip. The sense of guilt or coercion vanishes, replaced by the freedom to choose. So what happens when we no longer have to fight in the dark prison of craving? Let's explore the next method, a completely different approach where you don't battle, but instead welcome every emotion until it naturally disappears. Prepare for a turning point in breaking bad habits, and you will find self-mastery is no longer an exhausting fight, but a graceful dance. Step into the world of readiness and uncover the profound secret that follows. 3. The new science of self-control. Readiness. This is the cornerstone of a revolutionary approach to self-mastery. When you crave a cigarette, instead of pouring all your effort into suppressing it, you allow the thought, "I want to smoke," to arise. And then you simply stand back and observe, letting that craving appear and then gently fade away. In that very moment when you feel the weakest, when the urge is at its peak, you no longer have to wrestle relentlessly with yourself. Instead, you calmly watch a stream of thoughts and sensations, like an observer at the edge of the stage, neither intervening nor indifferent. You are present without being consumed. This is the essence of readiness, a concept of self-mastery quite different from willpower, which often forces us to fight every single breath of craving. Until now, willpower has often been praised as a guiding torch. Just push harder and you can conquer every desire. Yet experience shows that the harder you struggle, the more fiercely the desire blazes. In truth, it is not our capacity to resist that is lacking, but the right approach. Rather than straining ourselves in a futile battle, readiness directs us toward an attitude of acceptance. When we open our hearts to welcome the craving, we no longer drain mental energy in a never-ending battle with ourselves. Moreover, sitting quietly with the craving allows us to tap into the true nature of our psychology, revealing its transience. Readiness is not surrender. It is granting the feeling its place in the present moment, acknowledging its existence without judgment or resistance. By permitting the craving to arise and dissipate naturally without forcing it away, we preserve an inner peace and stability. As you become fascinated by these subtle inner movements, you'll realize that value does not lie in forced effort or brute force. It lies in gentle, natural shifts. This is the real key to self-control. The philosopher Epictetus once reminded us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That brief statement captures the very heart of Stoicism. Freedom does not spring from arming the will against every desire, but from mastering the inner self through understanding and acceptance. When we accept the call of desire without judgment, true inner freedom takes shape. Delving deeper, readiness is the journey of training oneself to be a serene observer, undisturbed by or enslaved to emotions. At the same time, the readiness attitude pushes away mental fatigue. Instead of plunging into an exhausting conflict with yourself, you sit down, take a deep breath, and notice every inner contraction, every pang of craving. This is the moment you allow body and mind to recover, to accept even the pangs of discomfort, and gradually to grow. When the craving dissolves, you have not only won a confrontation, but also conquered the haste and harshness within your soul that once demanded immediate relief. Applying readiness in daily life is simple yet profoundly effective. For example, when faced with a plate of golden cookies, rather than forcing yourself to turn away and fight the urge, simply say, "I'm craving something sweet." Then calmly count your breaths, allowing the sensation to be present without reaction. After a minute, you'll notice the desire easing, its intensity diminishing. Or amid workplace stress, when petty worries swirl in, pause, look directly at the feeling, and let it be for a moment, observing it without attachment. With regular practice, you'll witness a wonderful transformation. Your mind will feel as light as a feather, no longer tormented by negative emotional spirals. Finally, readiness is not a trendy trick, but an invitation to return to our human essence, to feel, to breathe, to live consciously. When you allow every experience to freely surface, the true power of self-mastery shines forth. You no longer need to strain whenever a craving knocks. You can relinquish the invisible battle and discover that your greatest strength lies in the ability to observe and accept. Please share in the comments below. Have you ever tried readiness in a moment of craving? How did it feel, and how has it changed the way you face your inner challenges? I look forward to reading your story and learning from your experiences. 4. Acceptance and Commitment Therapy, a CT. In the journey toward inner autonomy and freedom, acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, stands as a solid bridge linking ancient Stoic philosophy with modern psychology. Its very soul is willingness. Rather than stubbornly wrestling with our own urges, actively fighting against negative thoughts or cravings, ACT invites us to accept them as temporary visitors, acknowledging their presence without resistance, thereby finding peace within our hearts amid life's swirling currents. When work pressures mount and mental health is continually tested, willingness calls us to rise up, to bow our heads to circumstances without yielding our inner composure, and to trust in the guiding hand of God, who grants us the insight to recognize our imperfections and to draw strength from our very fragility. This spiritual dimension adds a profound depth to the practice of acceptance. I recall the story of Mark, a marketing director at a leading advertising firm in New York, who endured countless sleepless nights, tormented by anxiety and alcoholism. Before discovering ACT, he tried every trick to turn off his worries, drowning himself in beer until he passed out, throwing himself into non-stop ad campaigns until he collapsed from exhaustion, only to toss and turn all night. His struggle was a relentless, futile battle against his own inner demons. Yet after 8 weeks of faithfully practicing the exercises of willingness, Mark gradually realized that even his most powerful anxieties and cravings are merely fleeting clouds drifting across the sky of the mind. As he shared, "When I allowed myself to feel the fear and simply watched it like an innocent child crying, the fear eventually quieted itself." Mark came to understand that no inner storm lasts forever, and that it is by God's grace, granting us the humility to acknowledge our weakness, that we gain the power to let go of a futile struggle with ourselves. Indeed, the philosopher Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Echoing across 2 millennia, this maxim rings out as a triumphant anthem of inner authority, a testament to the enduring wisdom of self-mastery. In examining both Stoicism and ACT, we find a remarkable harmony. Each teaches us to relinquish the battle against circumstances, not through despair or passivity, but through clear awareness and the courage to accept what is beyond our control. In ACT, willingness is the modern embodiment of this teaching, a psychological lens enabling us to face any situation with agency, adaptability, and equanimity. ACT's applications span from treating anxiety disorders and addiction to corporate stress management. Global tech giants have integrated ACT into their employee wellness programs, reducing burnout while boosting engagement and creativity. In healthcare, anxious patients turn to ACT as a reliable refuge where they have permission to cry, to panic, yet above all to be guided so they are not defeated by their emotions. Clinical studies have shown that ACT intervention groups improve anxiety symptoms at twice the rate of control groups, employing traditional methods, proving that willingness is not an abstract concept, but a key that unlocks a new stronghold for the soul, a sanctuary of inner peace. What then creates this transformation? At its core is the shift in our relationship between thought and action. Rather than allowing negative cognitions to dominate, we learn cognitive diffusion. When an inner whisper proclaims, "This craving is unbearable," you simply note to yourself, "I am having the thought that this craving is making me uncomfortable," and let it pass. In that moment, the craving ceases to be an invisible enemy and becomes just one small observation among countless heartbeats bestowed by God. Finally, ACT does more than help us manage emotions. It lays the groundwork for a life aligned with our deepest values. By accepting and committing to what matters most, whether love, service, or faith, we embark on a journey of self-mastery, not defined by winning or losing, but by walking forward with compassion and patience. As the Stoic disciples long ago reminded each other, true power lies not in changing the world, but in shaping the way we perceive it. In this light, willingness transcends mere psychological technique to become a sacred journey where we learn to place ourselves under the caring hand of the Almighty, who taught humanity the strength of letting go and unshakable faith. In so doing, inner autonomy emerges as the most resounding testament to the dialogue between Stoic wisdom, modern science, and enduring faith. The traditional method, craving avoidance. I remember the very first time I resolved to switch off the lights on my sweet cravings. Facing a plate of cookies instead of allowing myself to feel each wave of desire, I immediately ordered myself to look away, busy myself with other tasks, or even erect an imaginary wall to keep those thoughts out of my mind. Yet, after a few minutes of ironclad self-discipline, I discovered that the craving didn't disappear. It came back stronger than ever, like a compressed wave bursting in fury, overwhelming my resolve. Likewise, in the marketing world, adverts promising chew gum to curb your cigarette cravings were once hailed as a quick fix, a simple solution to a complex problem. Many smokers tried it. The slight coolness on the lips seemed to soothe the urge for a moment, and they believed the no-smoke mindset could last. But in reality, very few persisted to the end. The avoidance path turned out to be full of potholes, frustration, and eventual failure. Because the instant the gum's effect faded, the craving surged back with double force, driving many to give up halfway, their willpower exhausted. Moreover, a haunting Broadway song seems to expose the true nature of switching off negative feelings. The main character sings of bearing their pain deep in their heart. Yet, the recurring sorrowful refrain reveals that suppression turns emotions into uncontrollable monsters that eventually resurface with greater power. The notion that we can instantly snuff out a craving by running away, distracting ourselves, or filling the void with other pleasures is just a temporary self-deception, like slapping a bandage on a wound and forgetting it's still bleeding underneath. From a scientific standpoint, the panic reaction when cravings return is clear. When willpower kicks in to suppress desire, the brain immediately produces extra neurotransmitters such as dopamine to compensate for the stress, making the craving rebound even more intensely. Like a ball pressed into the ground that springs back higher, those moments of restraint only fuel the desire's next assault. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. That quote reminds us that true power doesn't lie in utterly conquering sensations born outside us, but in our ability to observe and accept them the moment they arise. By turning our attention inward, we don't wage war on cravings. Instead, we become calm witnesses, allowing the sensation to exist and then gently dissipate. Furthermore, the act of switching off the lights on our cravings often backfires. Darkness doesn't erase the craving, but merely buries it until it suddenly explodes when we lose our resolve. Compared to fleeing from our instincts, sitting still, breathing steadily, and observing each contraction in the body lets us pinpoint the root of the urge and release it without triggering a fierce backlash. Thus, instead of chewing gum or immersing ourselves in distractions, we might try a small pivot. Permit the emotional craving to take the stage on our inner theater. When the spotlight remains on, rather than shutting down, we notice the subtle hues of the sensation and understand that it's merely a temporary signal from the body. From there, the craving loses its grip and real strength emerges from facing rather than fleeing. How about you? What methods have you tried to switch off the lights on your cravings, and what were the results? Share your story below so we can explore together how letting go of the inner battle can bring true power. 6. Clinical research on readiness. In 6 published studies, the quit rate among people using the readiness strategy was about 30%. This is a significant figure, twice as high as the mere 15% seen in the control group employing avoidance methods. That figure is not just a dry clinical statistic, but a triumphant declaration. When we stop fighting ourselves and allow cravings to arise, when we embrace the struggle rather than resist it, we give ourselves a genuine opportunity to unleash our hidden self-control energy. From the very first randomized trials, researchers intervened directly without holding back. They organized telephone counseling sessions, set up a hotline ready to listen at any time and any place. They built the web platform WebConnect.org, where users can share, learn, and receive emotional support whenever their resolve wavers. Then they developed the Smart Quit app, a personal assistant in your pocket that reminds you it's perfectly normal to think, I am having the thought of wanting a cigarette, and that you can simply observe it without feeling compelled to resist. The results of these interventions, as we have seen, did more than deliver a convincing 30% quit rate. They sparked the belief that quitting a bad habit does not depend on having enough strength to snuff out the fire of craving through sheer willpower, but on having the courage to sit quietly by that fire, watch it flicker, and let it die out on its own. That very willingness became the cornerstone for building a robust structure of personal self-control. Moreover, when we look across the 6 studies, each varying in participants, settings, and support formats, we see repeated confirmation. Willingness is not an abstract theoretical concept, but a concrete action, a skill that can be trained and applied in any context. One study ran a 24-hour hotline within large urban communities where cravings often hit during stressful breaks. Another used webconnect.org, attracting thousands of participants worldwide who shared moments of weakness and received immediate feedback from fellow quitters. Yet another group used Smart Quit, whose user-friendly interface automatically logged each "I am having the thought" entry, analyzed it, and suggested breathing exercises or reminded users why they began their journey. All of this crystallizes into a clear message. Willingness, the ability to welcome a craving instead of fleeing from it, not only boosts quit rates but also holds the key to unlocking self-mastery in every aspect of life. When you switch off negative emotions, you merely halt a fleeting moment of weakness, only to have the craving surge back even stronger as the suppressed energy returns. In contrast, when you leave the light on, allow every feeling to surface, and treat it like an uninvited guest, you actually transform that negative energy into inner strength. Remarkably, science has sided with the humanist Stoic philosophy. Let go of the invisible battle with yourself. Sit calmly by the flame of craving and let it burn out. After just 8 to 12 weeks of practice, participants not only showed significantly reduced relapse rates, but also reported improved quality of life from deeper sleep to a more upbeat mood each morning. Hearing the stories of people who once wrestled with cigarette cravings, who felt despair when their willpower fell short, and who ultimately found freedom through willingness, we come to realize that true self-control is not about excessive austerity or harsh self-denial, but the art of acceptance. That is the secret. Not conquering the craving through brute force, but walking alongside of it, observing it, and allowing it to dissipate naturally. So the next time you feel a craving, whether for cigarettes, coffee, junk food, or any habit, resist the urge to run away or muster every ounce of willpower to fight it. Instead, try quietly saying to yourself, "I am having the thought of wanting X." Then breathe, observe, and let it pass. You may be surprised to discover results 2 or 3 times greater than you ever imagined. In that moment of readiness, you have taken the first step on the path to genuine self-mastery. 7. The "I am having a thought" exercise. First, when we begin the habit of prefacing any negative thought with, "I am noticing that I'm thinking," we are actually granting ourselves a powerful pause. Typically, when emotions flare, we allow negative thinking to hijack our actions. Anxiety makes us procrastinate. Stress turns us into irritable colleagues, or cravings lead us to break our nutrition plan. Yet with this simple frame, "I am noticing that I'm thinking," we detach our observing self from the storm of thoughts, as if stepping to the sidelines to watch ourselves without being consumed. In that moment, you are no longer a victim of emotion, but the orchestrator and witness. And from there, you can choose a wiser response, a response rooted in reason rather than reaction. Building on this idea, Carl Jung emphasized what you resist persists. While Jung spoke of the personal unconscious, the Stoics teach us not to battle our cravings or negative emotions. Instead, we welcome and observe them. We don't try to snuff out every "I am feeling fear," "I am feeling anger," or "I am craving a cigarette" with force. Instead, we allow them to be present, slowly drifting like clouds across the sky of the mind. In doing so, the energy we would use to fight ourselves is set free, and we can refocus on constructive actions like deep breathing, journaling, or shifting our attention toward long-term goals. For example, in a work setting, when you open an inbox full of unread emails, you naturally feel overwhelmed. In that instant, rather than sinking into anxiety and reacting by skimming through or firing off hasty replies, you pause, breathe, and whisper to yourself, "I am noticing that I'm thinking this email is overwhelming me." This simple reminder becomes the hinge that stops automatic reactions. You recognize that the feeling of overwhelm is a thought that can change, not an immutable part of you. As a result, instead of reacting negatively, you can prioritize tasks, take a 5-minute break, and then return with a clear mind. This exercise not only fosters recognition, but also halts automatic behaviors. When we believe that a craving or worry must be suppressed by sheer willpower, we risk mental burnout. In contrast, by accepting and observing, we create a moment of distance enough to inhibit automatic impulses. This is the shift from willpower to willingness, acknowledging that all emotions have a right to exist, but they don't have to dictate our actions. Moreover, this technique reflects the Stoic spirit embodied by Seneca's reminder. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This means our fears are often illusory, inflated by uncontrolled streams of thought. By labeling each emotion with "I am noticing that I am thinking," we shrink the gap between imagination and reality, thereby reducing invisible suffering. Gradually, we learn to let thoughts drift away without clinging, cultivating a calmness that naturally follows when we abandon the futile internal battle. Imagine each morning you wake up and before racing through a dozen tasks, you spend 3 minutes telling yourself, "I am noticing that I am thinking I won't have enough time to get everything done today." In that moment, your mind stops spiraling into panic because you've acknowledged the thought and placed it on the observer's shelf. From there, you can plan realistically, prioritize the most important tasks, and avoid mental exhaustion by day's end. Finally, try applying this practice to any craving or worry in the coming week. Before you react, start with the familiar phrase, "I am noticing that I'm thinking." Through this, you reclaim the inner power that is rightfully yours. If you find this exercise helpful, please like and subscribe to share and practice this simple yet powerful technique together. We don't fight ourselves. We simply observe, let go, and keep moving forward with a free spirit. 8. Cultivating self-compassion. When we embrace moments overflowing with shame instead of hastily pushing those feelings away, we plant the seed of self-compassion. This is a radical shift from self-condemnation to self-nurturing. Consider Anna's story, a woman who spent an entire afternoon devouring a tray of pastries in a moment of impulse. She stopped calling herself lazy or weak-willed, and instead gently told herself, "I know you feel ashamed, but you've worked so hard already. It's okay to slip. We'll do better next time." In that instant, Anna realized that guilt isn't an irredeemable enemy, but merely a sign that she's been too harsh on herself. In fact, psychology encourages us to face negative emotions, whether shame, regret, or anger, as an essential part of life. When we suppress or avoid them, those feelings only find their way back with greater force, like a river dammed up. Receive without pride. Let go without attachment. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in Meditations, affirming the value of accepting without judgment and releasing without clinging. Through this lesson, we learn that self-compassion begins with allowing ourselves to feel fully, then letting those emotions dissolve naturally, without force. Moreover, a crucial step on this journey is to ask yourself, if this were my best friend, what advice would I give her? In doing so, instead of viewing yourself through a harsh, judgmental lens, you adopt a gentler, more empathetic perspective, just as you would when comforting a friend in pain. Try asking, if my best friend had just overeaten, what would I say to her? The answer will surely be words of encouragement and reassurance, not condemnation. By applying that language to yourself, you tap into an inner reservoir of strength, the strength of acceptance and forgiveness. In countless unconscious moments, many of us program ourselves to be ruthless judges, our own worst critics. We forget that we too need care, nurture, and encouragement, just like a good friend. Therefore, when a craving, anxiety, or wave of shame crashes in, don't immediately run away. Instead, pause, take a deep breath, and smile at yourself. When you say, "I'm sorry to myself, but next time I'll prepare a healthier meal," you've shifted from judgment to sharing, from blame to compassionate self-care. But comforting words alone aren't enough. You can also write them down as a small vow to progress. In your journal, jot down, "Today I acknowledge my shame instead of denying it. I reminded myself that I am human with flaws and goodwill." Through this act, self-compassion stops being an abstract idea and becomes a daily habit, gradually forging the enduring inner strength that helps us overcome our deepest challenges. Alongside Anna's story, create your own soothing mantra. Whenever a negative feeling emerges, quietly repeat in your mind, "I'm noticing the thought that I feel ashamed," and then observe the emotion as a bystander watching rain. You'll be surprised to discover it isn't a sudden storm, but merely light clouds drifting across the sky of your mind. Didn't Stoic philosophy teach that people are not harmed by events, but by their judgments about events? When we grasp this, we see that vanity and self-blame arise only from a judgmental attitude. And even when that judgment appears, we have every right to smile at ourselves and say, "Thank you, shame, for reminding me to live more responsibly. You are a teacher, not a punishment." Once self-compassion has been fully nurtured, we no longer fall into the vicious cycle of self-judgment and escape. Instead, we walk forward with the steadfastness of a loyal friend at our side. From then on, every action and every decision is guided not by fear or self-reproach, by love and deep understanding. Thus, we have reviewed the impact of the pandemic of unhealthy lifestyles from 500 million obese people to 1 billion smokers and acknowledged that traditional strategies of willpower and avoidance often fail. Today, the key to self-discipline is not unwavering willpower, but readiness, allowing cravings to arise, observing them, and letting them dissolve. Try the I am having the thought exercise with any craving this coming week. Then share your journey below for growth. Don't forget to hit follow and watch the next video right on your screen. Each video is a step toward building your inner strength. Remember, we don't have to fight ourselves. Let go. So true power can shine when you give yourself permission to be human.